It is Halley and Quynh once again on Self-Love Exodus Live. Well, we jump on here every Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we talk anything along the healing journey, the self-love journey. And we're on our own self-love journey as well. So what's coming up for us is the recovery zone, because we are going through a healing experience in two different ways. I am going through recovery in loss, and you're going through recovery in like a physical recovery with your foot. We weren't here last week, so no, I think I don't know if they know. They know? They don't know. I don't know. We should have a live.
They know.
Yeah.
Well, if they watched our live.
Yeah.
It was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks ago. Okay.
Telling our stories.
Yes. So yeah, we're talking about the recovery zone, and before jumping on live, I was thinking about different like parts of what I'm experiencing with loss. So and we'll see how it connects with your recovery zone too. Mm-hmm. Well, with mine, when I lost my 15-year-old dog, it was very like, it's not sudden because it was planned, but you know, the way that I mean, it's like he's here, and then I watched him pass on, like right in front of me. We had an in-home service. It was like lovely and so devastating. It's like lovely, gentle, and so devastating at the same time. And so that experience was like a hit to my heart, right? Like it was like my heart, it was so heavy, hurting, and just devastated. You know, that's the feeling of it. And so in that recovery zone, it's like letting myself feel it. I was very aware of how I was feeling, but the first part of my recovery zone is like letting myself feel the pain and leaning on support, and also too making sure that I'm expressing my hurt in healthy ways. Mm. Yeah. I had a sister, she was like, let me know if you want a drink. I was like tempting, because I messaged my sister. She lost her cat 2 years ago, and she was devastated. You know, she went to alcohol. We're all doing the best that we can. And she was just like, yeah, let me know if you need a drinking. But I told her, I was like, I can see why you drink 2 bottles of cheese. I can see why. This fucking hurts. So painful. I can't bear it. And she said, yeah, let me know if you ever need a drinking buddy. But I knew because of my healthy practices from before that I've been doing, I've been able to lean into that. But yeah, my first recovery zone is like feeling it, leaning on support, and expressing in the most healthiest ways that you possibly can. I mean, I joined Facebook groups that's about pet loss, you know, so all helpful, and it's feeling the pain, and just, yeah, so that's my first phase, I would say, in my recovery zone. Mm-hmm. Oh, what about for you when my
first phase? I like that.
You fell.
Like thinking about this in terms of the phases.
Yeah, and we'll kind of like talk back and forth at different next. And it was this came.
Yeah. Well, I think the first phase for me, I was in Tucson, so I was really like trying to figure out how to get home. But I kind of feel like I'm still in the first phase in a way, in terms of I keep wanting to be in the next phase. This is part of the first phase, is like, I want to be like every day. I think I probably boxered you a couple times, and like, I have a shift. I'm ready to like call my clients and tell them I can do sessions again. I'm ready to like hold space again for people. But honestly, like, I am so exhausted, because it's just like exhausting to like get around on crutches. It's exhausting for the body to heal, you know, it takes a lot of energy. And it's exhausting to just like do a day. Like, a day is hard, a lot harder than it is when you're not, you know, injured. Mm-hmm. My aunt was here, and she said that one time this therapist had told her that, you know, like when lions get injured, they go under a tree and they just like sleep until their body recovers, you know, and I've been thinking a lot about that, of just like, that's kind of like what my body instinctively wants to do. It wants to rest a lot. Yeah. It wants to sleep a lot. It wants to just like take it really easy. But my mind is really wanting to be a contributing member of society and to be doing things and to be feeling productive because I have worthiness associations with productivity. So I'm still in this like kind of like rest phase, and I want to be in the next phase, but I'm really not quite there yet. I feel like I'm just like maybe even on the edge. I don't even know. But yeah, just like a lot of stillness.
Yeah. And like accepting it, the journey of accepting being in the stillness.
Accepting it. And like asking for help. That's a big phase that I'm in. Like,
yes.
I'm in a very receiving phase where I do need a lot of help. You know, like I need someone to come water my plants, and I need someone to take out my trash, and I need someone to take me to the grocery store, pick me up food, and all of these things. So that's a big like humbling phase of this experience.
Right. So in common, there was like basically like letting yourself be in the things that you need to be in.
Yeah.
Like full on presence.
Yeah.
With what's going on, and receiving support, leaning on support, seeking support. Yeah. Because that will eventually lead you to the next one, right?
Yes.
So
yes, and the more that you can just get, like this is what I have to keep reminding myself. If I don't overdo it right now, I can get to that next phase in a healthy way. I can expedite like my whole journey if I can just be in this kind of doing hardly anything phase right now. It's kind of like you have to be in this phase of feeling the hard feelings.
I let myself cry every day, at least twice or more. Yeah. Crying, like being with myself a lot.
And for the journey as a whole, right? Even it's kind of like I've done grief so much in my life, and I know that there's the impulse to want to I remember when my mom first died, and I was talking to someone who had experienced tragedy in their life. And I was young, I was like 22, so I didn't really understand the healing process yet. And I asked him, like, how do I expedite this? Like, I can't feel this devastated. Like, how do I make this go faster? And he was just like, you can't. You literally can't. You just have to be in it. So yeah, being in it.
And I feel like, oh gosh, I'm just thinking about, right? Everyone's doing the best they can, but I'm just thinking about the numbing mechanisms, right? How it prolongs it.
Yeah, prolongs it.
Prolongs it. So crucial. Wow. So you let yourself be in it.
Because you really don't have a choice. I mean, you do have a choice. You can numb it, but that definitely, like, it not only prolongs that particular grief cycle or your injury or whatever, it creates trouble for you way down the road. Yeah. You know, way down the road.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's real right there.
Patience, I think, is like patience for any type of healing, physical or emotional.
And there's something about leaning into the pain and releasing it in the most healthiest ways that you could possible, whether that is like hanging on to your support or like, for an example, I was journaling and still being active with my body. And today I can see that helped me out so freaking much, because after a week and 2 days, I woke up with my heart feeling lighter. And I was like, first thing I thought of, wow, all that crying, all that like exert of like energy of expressing myself physically, vocally, or like writing wise, it compounded and it helped. And I was like, I'm so happy that I really let myself grieve. Yeah, like I even took work off, you know, and, you know, when I came back to work, I was still letting myself cry. I cried before work on the way to work, and I cried after getting off of work when I'm by myself in the car. Yeah, that's when I did most of my crying. But yeah, and then that led me into, I would say, that feels like the second phase for me, where I'm still grieving. And it's more of like, how can I like just looking for ways to honor him, which feels more like appreciating him, Still having moments of crying, but still doing that, leaning into the pain if I feel it, leaning into that pain, and staying connected with him in a more like healthy way. So what would this phase called? I guess maybe more peace and acceptance, more peace and acceptance of his loss, and still honoring him. So yeah, that's the phase that I'm in. Accepting, appreciating him, and honoring him. Yeah. Yeah. Like he's still with me every day. I think about him all the time. I miss him all the time. I still look at his pictures all the time. It's just less of that devastation is there. Yeah. So like I'm feeling the healing. I'm feeling the first phase, which is bringing into my second phase right now. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, there is something about acceptance. I think that is like a phase transition, because when you do, even like with my current situation, like the first phase is just kind of like, you're just kind of like, okay, like logistically, how am I going to do this? And then there's generally like a resistance there. There's like a, 6 weeks, like 6 weeks.
For your cast stay on, right? Or your boost.
Just like 6 weeks until I can just walk like a normal person, right? So that resistance energy of like, I don't want to do this.
Can this could just go away?
Like,
hurry up.
And then you just get to there is that moment where you're just like, all right, this is my life. This is my situation. This is how I walk right now. This is what I can do. This is what I can't do. So there is like this acceptance, turning of the leaf, where it's just like, this is where we're at. This is how it is.
Yeah. I'm also seeing myself still being very slow and gentle with myself. Like I do feel that energy, like what you expressed in the Voxer yesterday. Like you feel like, okay, I'm kind of like ready to like, you know, take on clients again. Like I'm feeling a little bit of that energy, but I'm still watching my time.
Yes.
Because the routine that I had in the first phase, I'm still holding on to that.
Yeah.
Like I still like my time at night with him. We have this table that's dedicated to him. I still like lighting up the candles. I still like lighting up the incense and like talking to him, praying to him. That's still so comforting and so needed for me, because I know I'm hurting still in there somewhere. Just not as much as in the first phase, but like you see, like where I'm like keeping this connection and turning into a very beautiful experience, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, so still being very cautious with my time, because as soon as I open that door of like, hey, y'all, I'm ready to I can feel that energy over there. But it's like, I know there's still some things here that I need to iron out. So actually it's giving me the opportunity to be still very slow, gentle, and very, very, very cautious and aware of my time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and taking advantage of it. Like, yeah.
It's an interesting shift, right, for people that are like in the healing realm and the service realm, who and like to have identities, or this is one of the things that I've been kind of having to deconstruct in my own persona, is like when you have an identity around being of service to people, you need to be of service to people in order to feel like you're worthy. And so when your cup doesn't have enough in it in order to give to others, it's like that persona starts to dissolve in a way. And there's a ego, there's a letting go, and there's like like, okay, like, and like, am I, and so then when you're in a mode where you actually have to be in a more of a receiving mode, it's just very humbling. It's very, very extremely humbling when, you know, when anything that we're attached to in terms of like how we claim ourselves to be, or who we decide that we want to be in this life, or whatever hat we're wearing, or, you know, whatever identity we're trying on, you know, and that has to like get taken off for a while.
Yeah, and letting yourself be so honest about like what you need right now. Yeah, I felt a little bit of that too, you know. I mean, I share a lot on my social media, and I just, it's like, do. Just all expressions of him, you know. And I was like, but you know what? This is life. So I still get to share this. Yeah, it's not like heavy, like self-love, but like self-love does tie into it, but it's been more about grieving and self-love. And I was like, but you know what? That's still, this is life. Like, it's still so relatable.
Yeah.
And so how I have to let go of however people may feel about that.
Right.
If you're uncomfortable with talking about grieving, okay, then, perhaps that's an area that you're avoiding and not being worried about like what the public may think of me going through my grieving.
Yes.
Because grieving is such a deep place, and people don't talk about death a lot. It's kind of like a taboo not to talk about it. But hey, it's just gonna continue to get deeper and deeper with me, and so it's like another vulnerability experience,
right?
And letting go of anything that I'm supposed to appear on social media.
I love that. I love that, especially because I know for you, like in particular, like expressing your process is so fundamental to your healing process.
Totally.
Like sharing, like letting yourself be heard. Yeah. And so like the whole, it's just funny when we come into these professional roles as like, okay, I'm a coach now. I'm a healer now. I'm here to provide service. And first you're like dancing in this little like persona of what you think that it needs to look like.
Right.
And then you do your journey and then real shit happens. And then it's just like, all right, well, this is what's up. This is what's real for me. This is where I'm at. This is my humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. I love just breaking through to just the realness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm starting to let go. It's like I still enjoy sharing myself, like using that medium and to connect and just like show up. And then also there's this other area, I know that you'll love this too, where it's like I'm letting go of the pressure of having to be on there so much. Mm-hmm. Because what I'm noticing is that like, as I'm going through this, I'm getting referrals.
Yeah.
And it could be very busy, if I really tap into those referrals. But like of just the relationships and the clients that I've been helping long-term, how, that's just the connections for new clients is coming from there versus some, social media. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. It's kind of like, you know what, as long as you stay on this journey and you're consistent and take care of the people that you're committed to, like you'll be okay. Letting go of the pressure, like how everything needs to be on social media. Because once upon a time, people did business without social media. So it's just kind of nice experiencing that. Yeah,
that's been such a theme, letting go of the pressure. Because I've been really confronting all of the ways that I have internalized pressure by like kind of being off duty right now.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow, I put a pressure on myself to do this, and I put pressure on myself to have this, and so much pressure.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. So I'm wishing for both of us to like take advantage of this downtime, this grieving time that we're going through. And it's advantage because we get to like really be so mindful.
So mindful.
When you're ready to do, like you've done so much mindful work that you know exactly which direction you're going to go, like you're going to know exactly what that's going to look like. So yeah, I'm wishing that for both of us. And for any of you that are grieving or you're healing from something and you're in that first phase, whichever phase that you're in, but like see that slowness, like really take advantage of that slowness because that slowness means time. There's like time opening up in that slowness for you to move so consciously, mindfully.
The other thing someone said to me the other day was the amount of like pause, the degree of pause that I'm in right now is going to be reflected and mirrored in the degree of like motion and movement and like whatever is coming in the next phase.
Totally.
Because we're always doing this like polarity thing, right? And so to like sink really deeply into this recovery zone is also opening up the space for this like big next phase.
Totally. Yeah. So we are where we need to be. Yeah. As much as we want to speed it up.
Mm-hmm. As much as we want to speed it up, it's so human.
Yeah. And that's going to be of service to others because I know we're going to receive clients who mirror back to what we went through, perhaps, right? And we're going to be able to support them in that. So we're good. Hi, Amber, by the way. We see you on Instagram.
Speaking of recovery zone.
I know.
Be with you, girl.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We'll be back here next week on Saturday, and meditation's still at 1 o'clock at 10 a.m. and then 11. 10 a.m. meditation, 11. We're here live. All right, any questions, let us know. And we're working on our next workshop, so that will be released at some point within the week-ish. Okay.